How's it going, everyone? Thank you for joining Shop Talk Live. My name is Rick Ramirez, also known as Rick's Two Cents, along with my fellow co-host Steve from Steve Makes Everything,
Hey guys.
and a special guest on for the second time, Blake. Blake, you want to introduce yourself to those who may not know who you are?
How we doing, guys? I'm Blake with Great Lakes Laser Supply. I also host twice a year the Michigan Maker Summit here in Michigan, not just for Michiganders, it's for everybody. But we've been makers now for about 5 years with a laser, and we've grown our business. Now we've even got a UV printer.
Nice. So it's the season, right? The season for farmers markets, makers markets, whatever you want to call them, classify them, all the above.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on tonight was because it takes a lot of courage to do this, for one. But two, I think that a lot of the products you sell, I consider small. So what I mean by small is it's a small investment to try something. And if it doesn't work, you can pivot. Or if it does work, you can gear up, gear down, whatever. So I wanted to ask your opinion on some of the smalls that you sell, something that's going to be a smaller investment. They don't have to buy a big bulk buy. What do you think with something that someone could do on a laser that doesn't have to be some crazy UV laser, something really expensive, entry level, that would be a good return on their investment, or a learning curve if they're ruining them, that it's not that big of a deal. There's still money to be made.
First thing that comes to mind is wallets, and that's kind of what we pivoted to. We started our business at craft shows with earrings and ornaments and a lot of small things like that. Now, they're small items that we were doing, but they were a huge time investment. My wife was very passionate about spending so much time hand painting all of these earrings, and the ROI on that wasn't necessarily great. And so when we saw that gap in the market for, some guy stuff, that's when we threw in some wallets. The nice thing about wallets, you can actually, some of them you can take the plate off the wallet and get your settings dialed in on the inside before you put that back together and then do your real engraving on the good side. So very minimal investment. You can see if you're able to get any traction on those in your area or at a craft show, that you're already invested in. And, if they don't go over, you're going to find somebody who's going to want to buy those. Wallets, I would say, are a huge one because they're easy to sell. And I'm a big proponent of good, better, best. We found a lot of success with that stuff when we had 3 options for people. We'd have a $20 option, $30 option, a $40 option. And you'd be surprised how many people just kind of talk themselves into that more expensive one just because you have those 3 options.
So for one, I threw that on you. He was no way, shape, or form prepared for that. And that was the point of kind of an honest opinion, just off the cuff, so to speak. One thing I like about you, Blake, is not only do you sell, but what I mean is, like, you're one of us. You are a maker, but you're also a distributor, right? So you're able to kind of test your own market, right? So I think if you bomb at something, you may not try to make others wishful thinking that they're going to all of a sudden succeed, right? But we always say that certain things could do better than others in certain areas, of course. But quick question on the wallets. Are you talking about like a leather wallet, those metal wallets? Or what kind of wallets are you talking?
So we carry a variety. We do carry metal wallets. Then we have our Edge wallet that we call it, and there's a leather Edge version. That's for some older guys. A lot of those guys are stubborn. They don't like change, so they don't want to go to that minimalist. They have that big fat wallet right there. So they don't want to try something new. So what I'll typically do to those guys, we've got our leather Edge, so it has that minimalist RFID blocking on the inside. And then you open it up and you've got all that extra storage. So if a guy like you walks up, I'm going to challenge you. Hey, I bet you can't fit everything in your wallet in this leather Edge wallet. And 9 times out of 10, it all fits in there and they end up buying that wallet.
So that wallet, do you need a UV laser? What are you engraving the leather with?
This leather actually engraves with the fiber laser, diode laser, CO2 laser, and it's not leatherette.
Okay.
I don't know what type of leather it is, to be honest.
Do you, by any chance, I know you just threw this at, do you have one that you could grab to show us?
Yeah, I've got one in my pocket.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
Hey,
So you made fun of me, but you're that guy too. So how you like that one?
Well, because we have 2 businesses, so I've got business cards for both businesses and everything. So it does fit everything. And I've just done some UV test printing with hard ink actually on the leather.
Okay.
Just how it held up. Since I don't have hard ink loaded right now, so I've got some hard ink there loaded on the outside.
Yeah, it's probably more of a soft ink candidate.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then get that up there. Then you got the metal on the inside. So another part of good, better, best is I always like upselling extra engravings. So built into that price, whether it's a $20, $30, $40 wallet, is going to be a single engraving. So if they wanted to do the single engraving on the outside, I'll have some pre-engraved on the inside typically, but then people are adding, a second engraving on all sorts of places. Sometimes people even like getting something just like initials or something right there. So you've got, the flip up RFID protected on the
Go a
inside.
little higher. I didn't see all the numbers.
Oh yeah.
Nice. So what's something like that, if you don't mind sharing, what's something like that cost wholesale?
Wholesale, these are, depending on the quantity, about $12, and then you can sell them retail for $45. And my passion is teaching people to have the confidence to do that. A lot of times people get something like this and they're like, you're selling it for $15 or $20. And, by having those other options, you can really get this in front of people and get that premium price. There's times I'm at a craft show, another laser maker will be there selling one style of wallet for $10 cheaper than me. I'll see them afterwards and they're like, oh yeah, I had $300 in sales. They're like, how did you do it? I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I want to tell you. Some of these shows, we're doing $3,500 in sales. We'll have a line up with just wallets, hats, hat clips.
So Steve always says, sometimes I quote Steve saying this often, and I quote Steve, so I'm not taking credit for his saying, but he always calls them lost leaders, right? Yeah. Sometimes, so I guess kind of what you're saying, like the cheaper wallet version, but then upsell and give them other options.
Yeah, and even though, but just alone having more options, I charge more for that cheapest wallet than this person right next to me could be selling it for, and I'll sell them all along.
Yeah, I have an ongoing frustration with people who kind of demean their own sales ability, right? And they sell things, and I go back to coasters all the time because it's one of my pet peeves. They'll buy a $1 coaster, they'll put some engraving on it and spend 10, 15 minutes on it, and then they'll sell it for $1.20, right? And it's like, okay, you're not making any money, so don't bother.
Yep.
Yeah, and people do this all the time. I see it.
You made a good point too, is that kind of a confidence in your selling ability.
Yeah.
I always say, man, I give Joe Witnesses so much credit, right? How many times I get the door slammed in front of them and they're still going to the next, right? That's kind of the mentality, the callous you have to have, right? So
there's just such a people have such a fear of not selling something, right? And and this is, and I mean, I would probably have this too, which is why I don't sell volume things, because if I had to sell 1 million coasters a year to make a living, that would just not be cool with me, right? I'd rather make 20 things that I'm going to sell for, $5,000 than worry about coasters end to end. Now I know Jim's online and he's making lots of coasters, so I don't want to discourage him because he's doing quite well.
Roger's in the background like.
Well, no, it's just not my thing. Like I just can't sell, right? It's like, even so. I did in this last video I did on the Eufy Make E1, I had these rubber mats, right? And I made them a while ago, and now everybody's got rubber mats, but people were some people, like, I don't do the selling on it. So Tim Sands, who's on here probably, yeah, he's there. I said, you sell them, right? You can make some money, and he makes just about as much as I do on them. So but I don't have to, I can't, it's just not my thing, right? I can't spend my days putting boxes together and putting little shipping labels on things.
So I remember when I first got my CNC, Steve convinced me to buy this $800 bit, and he was telling me I did this.
Yeah,
right. I'm saying that because he told me not to, right? but the point was that I kind of got in this like CNC fever, so to speak. When you're first trying to buy blanks, when you're first trying to buy the things you need for those, maybe you buy too much and you don't kind of just like try one thing first and see how it works and then expand your horizon, so to speak. Yeah. I went a little overboard on buying bits, and I've used like 3 bits.
Didn't I tell you there's 3 bits you're going to use all the time? You know, and when you get really good, you
very well.
expand that to maybe 5.
Yeah.
So a couple
So
of
kind of
each
what you're saying
products.
is like you see like these fads, right? Something comes out, pushes, and then sales may tank, you know, and not necessarily just for you, but also people buying the same. Like if you were giving advice to someone to say like, these are your 3 tries to see what would be your 3 tries you think with a laser. And I can say, and then they don't have to be low end. They could be high or low, you know, but you'd say like, these are probably something worth trying, you know, worth spending your money on, see if you can succeed in upselling these or selling them.
For like small items.
Yeah.
I
Well, no,
think-
just in general, even if
Well,
they're
any
larger.
item really, but what's the good, better, best, right? That's what you're
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to switch your question just a little bit because I probably field 150 questions a day from laser makers, and I have driving for at least 45 minutes a day, and a lot of times just say, hey, let's just chat through this. I want to talk through this with you. So they'll give me that question. Hey, what are 3 things that I should start off with or give a try to? And I kind of encourage them to take a step back, and I say, hey, what's your natural sales market? And sometimes they're like, well, what do you mean by that? Where can you sell things? Do you have kids on sports teams? Are you involved in a bowling league, a softball league? Are you a business person? Are you going to Business Networking International meetings? You know, I ask them questions like that and we dive in. You know, I was talking to someone recently. I didn't know they were a pastor, but he was ready to buy a $1,200 rotary. Like, great investment. It can be great for tumblers. But he's like, I don't know really where I'm going to sell these tumblers. So after talking with him, talking through the same exercise, he said, oh, well, I'm a pastor. I have lead Bible studies and youth group and all these things. He's I've really been fascinated and tried to figure out how I can, incorporate that. I said, well, that's perfect. You know, and I'm throwing up some ideas. So we ended up on silicone bracelets with RFID tags in them. And he now has a business where, you know, he's putting it goes to his website and it's a daily devotional. You know, there's one for the teenagers, there's one for adults, and he can kind of switch that up. So it just brings them to the website. They can go to the Bible study that's for them. And then he customizes, puts their name on it or a meaningful Bible verse. So that's kind of the exercise I go through. Where are you already invested? So then once we figure out where they're at, then we can talk through 3 products. So maybe it's tumblers, maybe it's hats, maybe it ends up being wallets, maybe it's metal business cards if they go to BNI, and I'll teach people how to go to BNI and pre-make a metal business card for 5 or 6 people that are already there. And by the end, I do a minimum order of 100 business cards, and I'll have 8 people in line to order 100 metal business cards. So I don't even have a membership at BNI, but you can go a couple times for free. So if you get in contact with somebody there, you can get their a list of the names and the business owners, and you can usually pull their logos from somewhere and make them a business card. And you do your 30-second commercial for your business and you're showing them a metal business card, you got a sale like that. Insurance agents and realtors, they love those metal business cards.
So I like the fact that you almost turned away money, right? And it's you took that risk, right? Because someone comes at you confident that they want to do one thing, and you tell them like that may not be the best, wisest decision, and kind of steer them in a different direction that may be the right direction, but they may sometimes be like, why aren't you listening to me, right? But the point is, sometimes when you give someone the right answer, it's not always what they want to hear, right? Yeah. But then they kind of gain your trust, and that could mean a long-term customer versus you sold $1,000 worth of tumblers, they'll never come back because they didn't sell them, right?
Yep.
But the RFID, he sends it to them, maybe then comes back second for tumblers.
I don't sell RFID bracelets.
Right.
My passion is truly just helping people to be successful in their businesses, get going in their businesses. It doesn't have to be one of my products. I'm happy to talk through things with people and get them going and help them define what they can sell and be successful.
That's awesome. Let me grab some of these comments here. Tony said Cleveland, Ohio is in the house. Hey, Tony, thank you for joining. Quite a few people jumped in the live for live, so thank you for that. As always, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments, and appreciate everyone. Let us know where they're checking in from. Phil said hello from South Carolina. Well, Mark said we'll be alive tonight, and I guess that
No,
is
there's no live tonight.
no. You're seeing us in spirit. Every time Rick says this, I kind of like want to take a trip out there. Says, "Hey Tony,
Fish
greetings
Lake.
from Fish Lake, Indiana." One of these
Get a-
days, I'm just gonna
Get a
take my
boat
Harley
and go
boat.
fishing.
I got to go check this out. This Fish Lake, Indiana.
It's not too far from you, right?
Yeah. So all the best marketing. I had thought you were joining tonight's live with a different name.
Yeah.
We had a little scam going on to see if people would notice it was him. So let's see here. Oh, Steve, you want to take this?
Well, what's to take? Ontario here. I don't live in Ontario anymore.
I'm saying that because if you don't know, Steve lives in Canada. He's Canadian.
Laser Nug.
Laser Nug. Thanks for joining. Laser Nug is our first time joining. I don't recognize the name. Let us know. Let us know. Appreciate you checking in. And if anyone has any questions for our guest of honor, let us know. He dropped definitely some wisdom. You had said you gave a pastor for wisdom, and normally they're the ones giving other people advice. So that might have been a switch up that he wasn't prepared for sure. That's cool. Tom said hello, everyone. A lot of regulars checking in. Radui, go ahead. You were going to say something, Blake?
I got logged into YouTube. It wouldn't let me go in the comments. Now I'm in.
Okay. So TTC 1940 said, and from Chicago.
Hey, Jim.
Here goes.
No, he's not going to talk to me because I dissed coasters earlier, but he knows I diss coasters all the time. So
Roger said, Rick, send me a link to this. Did he get hacked? In a treehouse, so having issues. Is this for real?
looks like a real email address to form.
But that's not his normal email, so I wonder why he used that email.
Maybe he's not.
Roger, I'll forward you the email.
From Grand Rapids, Michigan. I live in Rockford, but we're just so everybody, typically more people know where Grand Rapids is at.
So I didn't know you live in Rockford. You live in Rockford?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I live in Oswego, Illinois. So we're not too far from each other. I think that's like what? An hour and a half?
Really?
Hour and a
No,
half?
it's got to be at least 2.5.
Think so?
Rockford, Michigan.
Let me see. Let me Google.
I think you looked it up when we talked about the Maker Summit.
Oh, yeah, I did look that up. Let me see.
But you have the rocket.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking Rockford, Illinois.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Rockford, Michigan. Oh, 3 hours and 43 minutes. Anyway, it's a little closer than Steve is.
No quick.
Yeah, I'm a good 20 hours away.
Say, Steve, laser injury.
Survivor.
Oh, nice.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, so you can't just say that and not say the story behind it.
Well, yeah, I was working on a customer thing with like 100 watch bands on my CO2 laser bed, and I saw bad things about to happen. So I reached in there over top of because it's a 3-beam or like a 3-mirror path. So reached through, fixed the thing I needed to fix, but then I was wondering why my arm was hurting.
I've gotten it twice. Once in my CO2 gantry, and then my friend David, who owns Creative Cut Supplies, I was helping him set up his CO2 Galvo with a 400 millimeter lens. I mean, so you can imagine the focal distance on that thing.
It's pretty good, yeah.
So I'm shifting the sheet as the laser's going, and I got my thumb pretty good. I got my nail pretty good there with the laser.
So one thing I noticed with the metal fab, they have this long wand for removing rust, and you put the gun up on the top, and you shoot down to the bottom, and it's basically an open 1200 watt fiber beam, 3 feet long.
Wow.
Heading down to the metal, and it's like, yeah, don't put your hand in that. So I'm surprised they didn't put some kind of cover on it.
You want to mention what it was doing to the concrete that was below that?
Oh yeah, it'll melt concrete, which is kind of cool. So I haven't had much time to play with it, but I did do this. So I cut this. This is like, I don't know, it's like 1.5 millimeter stainless steel. This took 13 seconds. And there was no dross, like no rough edges on it. You could literally pull it off of there and ship it.
That's
So
incredible.
Steve, it's not cutting like a plasma cutter. You're almost taking that laser and putting it like a diode laser, right? So it's moving.
Yeah. You can put it inside a CNC cabinet.
Okay.
And that's what I did with it. But I
Right.
did try welding. I haven't welded since I was in grade 8, in grade 8 shop. So I thought, oh, this is going to be pretty rough. And I didn't have gas. I didn't have any buffer gas. So I just used air and put 2 pieces of stainless steel together and went zit. And it was like, holy cow, this is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, stainless steel is no joke to weld. That's actually a specialty
Yeah,
welding.
I'd actually like to find some brass welding wire and weld brass, because I can do that too. But I don't know anywhere to get brass welding wire.
You'd want to check out people who do brass gutters.
Yeah, the problem is, like, the welding wire is normally for like TIG welders, right? And
Right.
you don't generally weld brass with a TIG welder. So
Yeah. I've seen some very expensive brass gutters and spouts, and man, you just know that person's got money that they're
you
doing
have
that.
a lot of money to just waste a big piece of brass 100
That's
feet
what I'm
long
saying.
on your house.
Yes. Up north, northern Illinois, you see that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, but they're $7 million homes. You know. Sanders Laser Engraving.
Hey, Santa.
So,
What's up, Santa?
hey, I got your email. Sorry, I was crazy busy today. I was doing some training, so
I saw you posted something on the Facebook page. It looked like he was going to ask a question, but I didn't have time to read it. I've been just crazy the last really since the beginning of the year, and it just never seems to end. And I got a notification today from UPS. They're delivering a couple of mystery packages to me. I'm not sure what they are, but one of them weighs 47 pounds. So I suspect that one is the X-Tool UV printer.
nice. I just
And
got
the
a
other one
printer
is probably the Wonder Press.
So, Steve, do you remember before I had told you that I did get an email from Longer about a 3D printer, and you said, I confirmed that is Longer. So I have the laser now, and a 3D printer should be here soon.
You have an e-print?
No.
Oh,
I have a 3D printer. I have one of their lasers. I just got it, and I have a 3D printer. Their new 3D printer. It's on its way.
Yeah.
So that's cool. We'll see what's going on. Longer.
No, I thought you said that they sent you a message about the e-print.
No. It was the 3D
I
printer.
talked to them like right after that. It's like, oh, there's no way this guy's getting an e-print before I get one.
Oh man, what's going on, Steve?
and Jenny there said, "What? No, we haven't shipped any." She said, "I'm the one who gives the authority for that, and I didn't give this,
that's
this
Jenny.
permission
Well,
to
sorry.
anybody." So, yeah, they're still working on it, but fingers crossed that they ship it soon.
Yeah, it's cool.
I see Kevin's got a question, and Kevin, I don't know if you saw the beginning.
Where we at?
Hey, are you skipping ahead?
Resource for beginners to start. I will be in Alpena, Michigan next week.
Oh, you're looking in the YouTube live in the YouTube comment feed.
Where else should I look?
You can look here. There's a comment button up on the upper right there. Because the ones that come off of YouTube pages will be delayed a bit.
Oh, okay.
So we're using StreamYard. So the whole idea of StreamYard is that if Steve's live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, so are you. It pulls all those together to the right in the StreamYard.
Okay.
So you'll see everyone's comments, and that's also the reason why we share them. Because if they're commenting your Facebook group, your YouTube won't see it. And vice versa.
Log in. I logged into StreamYard before I clicked on, but when I opened your link, I'm not logged in, so I'm not streaming. I was afraid to click it after we were going.
Oh, you can go ahead. It won't do anything. It won't hurt anything.
Where'd you go?
It's going to probably have to log off to log in.
Oh, yeah, I guess. So where were we?
Hold on, Roger. I was making sure that it was you. I'm gonna text. Oh, okay, it is him. He texted me. Hold on. Let me copy it.
How'd that work? Oh, wait. Let's get him back on here. There we go.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah, it kicked me right out.
So when you came back in, did it work?
Yeah, now I can stream to mine.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can look at the same comments we're looking at now.
Do you see him on the right-hand side now?
Not yet. I'm putting on my stream.
Okay.
Yeah, we jumped ahead a bit. Skylar's online.
Yeah.
Hey, Skylar.
Hello, Skylar. Thank you for joining in.
Oh, there you go. Laser Nugs. It's Laser Nugs' first time. Welcome.
Nice. If you don't mind me asking again, sorry to be full of questions. How'd you find us? And let us know if you have any questions. All right, Blake, here's your question.
Nova marketing resource for beginners to start. I will be in Alpena, Michigan next week. I will say, not even just to plug it, but my Facebook group, Great Lakes Scissor Supply, definitely I try to throw out engaging conversations in the group and have conversations about marketing. So I would say that's a good resource. And also if you connect with me, whether it's in the Facebook group, shoot me a message. I'm happy to talk through it with you. I spend about 45 minutes in the car every day, and I love jumping on a call and brainstorming about marketing and how you can kind of get your business going. So I'd love to have that conversation with you personally if you wanted to, Kevin. Don't hesitate to reach out.
It's kind of cool that we got makers talking about marketing.
Yes.
I've read one marketing book in my life, called a book called Brand Hijack, which was probably the best marketing book I could read for the kinds of things I do. But hey, Chris.
What's up, Chris?
It says, "G'day from down under in Perth."
So Roger's using a CO2 Galvo to do coasters in seconds.
Jim is using a CO2 Galvo. He's like the only guy I know who has one, and it's like, yeah, it's very cool.
CO2 Galvo. I've got the Maxi index table on my CO2 Galvo with a 300 millimeter lens. Oh my gosh, I did 500 coasters in no time.
So I saw one laser has this laser that's a fiber laser that's specifically made for coasters, and it's like standing up. Because everybody has these like
the Viper.
I forget what it's called.
There's one like that for tumblers. I didn't see one for
coasters. That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, for tumblers.
Oh, okay. You said coasters.
Yeah, that's the only manufacturer I've ever seen have a laser like.
There's actually a couple of those out there. The one you've seen has some actual kind of market.
I'm gonna grab a network cable and plug it in. Hold on.
Yeah, let me.
Oh, you know what it was? As soon as Roger joined, it buffered me.
Hey, I finally got it.
Where are you?
Where you at, Roger?
Yeah, I'm in a treehouse.
Literally?
I'm literally in a treehouse.
Wow.
Okay.
Did you move?
All right. Well, what were you saying? I'm sorry, we got thrown off. Blake.
But yeah, the one laser Vertigo is the one built specifically for tumblers. I've had that opportunity to see it in person 3 times. Absolutely incredible. If you have a tumbler business, I mean, it makes doing tumblers super easy. Quick swapping cups, massive sizes. I actually just connected with them to quote for one of my customers who's going to do this gigantic, like 20-pound ceramic. I called it an urn, and they were offended. I don't know what it's called, but it's this giant ceramic tub with no lid, and they needed an easy solution for lasering that thing. And I think it's going to end up being the Vertigo is going to be a great solution for that.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool because I know like Rotor Boss is kind of like the king of rotary tools. And I think when we said these lives, we said, what's the number one thing you bought that you never used, but you thought you had to have? And everyone said a rotary tool, right? And it was either one. Yes, it was the number one answer.
Wow.
And we've asked it time and time again. And I think part of it's like the configuration, the setup, the intimidation.
For sure. I help so many people like, yeah, I bought a rotary 6 months ago, a year ago, and I still haven't used it. Oh my gosh.
Right. But if you had, we also talk about that once you have more than one laser, it's definitely nice to be able to purpose a laser. So, and it doesn't always start out that way, right? As you see a whole slew of lasers behind Steve, you know, but you start purposing lasers, you know, or jigging them, so to speak. And if you had a purpose laser for a tumbler, that's nice that it's dialed in and that's all you use it for. You know, you don't have to worry about resetting things up or messing things up. That's a nice feature. Jack said, did you sleep this morning? Okay. Oh, I think they're having a conversation with someone else in the
Okay, hey Rick, something I noticed here that was kind of interesting before I finally managed to get on.
Why are these guys freezing up?
Can you hear?
Was on the comments, and when I was like just on YouTube, I can only see what comments were made on YouTube. I could not see everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, then your login might have expired, and you have to log into StreamYard and authenticate it. After so many days, it expires. Is he frozen, Steve?
No, he's moving. He just can't seem to hear us.
Oh,
Or-
no, I can hear her.
Oh, he's just ignoring us then, which is worse.
Sorry about that, guys. I had a blue screen of death pop up.
Wow.
I've brand new computer because I had to upgrade to Windows 11, and I got a blue screen. But thankfully, it boots up very quickly.
Yeah, that was quick.
Laser Nug says he emailed me the last couple of times and saw the weekly live notification on YouTube. Yeah, cool.
Nice. Cool. Thank you for joining.
And hopefully when you emailed me, I gave you sensible answers or actually answered you.
Kevin said, I do not use Facebook. Shoot email to Great Lake Power Supply. Thanks.
Yeah, Kevin, I threw my email in the comments there, contact@greatlakeslasersupply.com.
All right. So, Blake, you want to take this one?
Yeah, kind of like you had just mentioned, Rick, you know, purposing a laser. Our very first laser was a 100-watt CO2 gantry laser. And I if I was starting over, I would do the same thing again. The versatility that we got out of that laser, you know, we were able to really figure out where do we fit in, what products do we want to make, and we could easily shift and pivot between products with that CO2 gantry. Now, it drove me bonkers having to set that thing up for tumblers. It drove me crazy. So
I think that's what Jim wants you to talk about, because I know he's going to do lots of rotary stuff.
So then I don't remember. I think we got a fiber first, and then our next, and then our third laser was a CO2 galvo, so that we could have a dedicated tumbler machine. And the nice thing about that is, when you get those small orders, 3, 4, 5 tumblers, instead of, I would always just quote such a high price that people wouldn't want to do them. But once you have that CO2 galvo set up for tumblers with a chuck rotary, I mean, you throw a single tumbler on there, it's literally 3 minutes. It's so quick, so easy. I definitely, if you have other lasers in your arsenal, I don't know that I would want the CO2 galvo to be my first laser, but if it was my second or third and you wanted a dedicated tumbler machine, it's incredible for that. And then I just helped my friend David Brown get set up for mass production of bookmarks and ornaments. He's cutting the ornaments with his CO2 gantry, and then he's got an employee loading up a maxi index table with that CO2 galvo laser, and he's marking those. So we got his time down from minutes down to 10 seconds to mark these ornaments. So huge time saver. And for him in a production setting, he paid for that laser, very quickly.
That's cool. That's cool. Chris said, I do rotary jobs under protest, just like Steve and his coasters.
Well, I do rotary jobs under protest too. I don't do very many.
Yeah, but it's funny how you said that, Blake. There are things that
Hey, I still make money with coasters. Still making money with coasters.
I'm not disputing that there's money to be made. It's just take one off, put one on, take one off, put one on. It's like, oh, shoot me.
I think the biggest difference is that Roger has bars and they're continuous customers. So that's the difference, right?
Well, I have continuous customers too, but they never want the same thing twice, which is
right. But that's the difference. He's doing the same thing over, machine's dialed in, template's done, just fire and fire, But Chris said I do rotary, yeah. So let me see this.
Okay.
Since Lasers and Gravy said I love running glass with the rotary. Yeah.
I just did glass for the first time on my UV laser. I had 2 glass orders come up, and man, such beautiful work with the UV on glass.
Yeah, it's a thing to behold.
Mm-hmm.
When you say glass, you mean actual glasses. You're on a rotary.
Right, yeah. I had a order of about 150 10-ounce rocks glasses, and then 150 pint glasses.
And what laser is it?
A 10-watt BWM UV laser.
Yeah.
It's nice. They put a switch on it so you can do the 3D engraving. Can't think of the name of the controller. BSL. So you can switch between using Lightburn or BSL, so that you can still do the flat work with Lightburn.
Yeah, that was the one thing that ComMarker didn't do with the Omni X, the 10 watt. You can't use Lightburn anymore. Now, when I had the first prototype of it, I could use Lightburn. And then when I got the production one, it's like it doesn't work anymore. And they said no, because we changed the controller. So
oh man,
that sucks. So then if you had that way, you could only do 3D like type cubes. You couldn't do flat work at all. That's the big difference.
No, you can, but you can't use Lightburn to do it.
And the software that would be non-Lightburn, is it like some Chinese? You're going to struggle to jump through.
Yeah, they all use the same one, right? It's not good for anybody.
Yeah, 3 trainings, and I've only done 2 crystals.
Lazy Nug said, "LOL, you did. It was golf balls on the UFI. Thanks."
Oh yes, okay, yeah.
Let's see here. Should I catch up here in the comments? You want to take this, Blake?
Yeah, I mean that's a good one too. I mean, if you could have a dedicated gantry, that definitely works. So you're saying I'm assuming, are you guys reading it? That he'll set the CO2 up for. Oh, I see. When he updates one of the galvos, then he'll set it up for rotary work. But yeah, having a gantry dedicated for tumblers too is definitely good.
So those who may not know, do you want to explain what a gantry CO2 is versus a standard CO2?
Oh yeah. So the gantry, for our 100-watt CO2 gantry, we've got a 38 by 24-inch workspace. And then the galvo, you've got that one laser head where the laser actually comes down. I'm struggling to explain it, but that's pretty much it. They're actually different, and I think one thing some people don't think about, you can cut with a CO2 gantry or galvo, but you can actually get angle lines because your laser is coming down like this. So David, who I'm setting up to do those bookmarks and ornaments and stuff, we were originally going to cut as well, but because we're using a 400 millimeter lens, he was getting some pretty extreme angles on his cuts. We ended up still doing the cuts on the gantry and then just doing the marking on the CO2 galvo.
Okay, create a jig.
Yeah. What's up, you boofer?
You boofer. That seems like a new name too. You Boofer says hello.
Santa's Living Grade said UV is down the road, but it'll be one of those days just because glass I run here. Yeah. So I definitely think that UV is more of an investment, but I think that as more and more manufacturers
Well,
add
it's something with me too. It's on my bucket list.
yeah. But I think as more and more of these laser manufacturers added to the lineup, you're going to see the price of those UV lasers drop.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can get in. My first was a 5-watt UV, very, very capable. There was nothing I couldn't do. And some of the things that just blew me away, I found myself using my 5-watt UV for marking brass, for example. Beautiful. It looked like you printed black on brass, with the 5-watt UV. So very, very capable. Just since I sell the crystals, I wanted to be able to do that 3D engraving on the crystals as well. So that's why I sold my 5-watt and got a 10-watt.
Yeah, well, you don't actually need you can do those on a 5-watt laser too, right? Like the X-Tool F2 Ultra UV is 5-watt.
I just would have had to upgrade the controller and everything.
Yeah.
I could have done it
Well,
myself.
you need you need the controller managing the Z-axis too, right?
So Blake, since you mentioned those crystals, have you ever had anyone laser engrave one and later on down the road it starts to crack or fracture?
I haven't heard of that. No.
Oh, I've cracked lots of them.
Really?
Yeah. It depends how close you get to the edge. And actually the line density has a big impact too, right? If you go with a really high line density, you're basically carving a hole in the middle of the glass, right? And I think what's happening is all of the bits that you're blowing away there have nowhere to go, so they expand and just crack the thing. Yeah, you get a slow creep in them.
Yeah, I had not seen that before, but that makes sense. In my training, they kept on saying I was doing a portrait of my wife and I, and I'm like, "Can we make it bigger? I want to go closer to the edges." And they're like, "No, you can't." But they didn't explain why, and so that makes sense.
Yeah, you got to stay away from the edges. Yeah. Now I'm doing a thing right now for an optronics company, and they want to do some internal engraving for some device they're making, and I actually did multi-pass inside a crystal, and when I was doing I could do 2 passes, but I couldn't do 3 passes. As soon as I did the 3rd pass, thing cracked. So I just think it's because there's so many little fractures in a very tight spot that eventually it just kind of gives up the ghost and starts to crack.
I just thought it was interesting that it didn't happen immediately. It's kind of like when you get that rock chip in your windshield and all of a sudden you're driving, it goes, and that would suck as someone who's still learning to sell a product to someone that looks phenomenal, and 3 days later they call you up and like, this seems complete crap.
Yeah, although you can usually see it when you're done engraving. You'll see right away. You'll see like some hairy edge or something, and you just watch it for a couple days, and you'll see a crack start to creep out to one of the surfaces.
It makes me want to go find my first one ever is in a box. I did with the 5-watt UV. Actually, I didn't really like it. I didn't think that you had to clean the crystal first or wear gloves. So it's pretty funny. I did the Great Lakes logo, and in my logo, you can see my thumbprint in the engraved logo.
A dim spot.
So I kept on doing more passes. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And it was, literally my hitting the fingerprint.
Yeah. So when you unwrap the crystal, hold it by its corners.
Yeah.
Or gloves.
That's cool. So obviously, when you're sourcing these materials, is there a huge difference in quality in those crystals? Like, is there such a big swing in price?
Yeah.
I got samples from 3 different companies, very similar in price. It honestly 2 of them seemed almost identical, and I ended up going with a 3rd one that wasn't like the others. Theirs just seemed a touch better in quality for a very small price increase.
Yeah, I've seen cheaper ones. They turn a bit yellow over time, which says to me they're not actually K9. They're something else. They're probably just a bunch of impure glass pressed into a cube.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things you spend money, right? Because if any of the stuff I'm doing with them,
somebody melted down a bunch of pop bottles.
yeah, but any of the stuff, Roger's on quite a delay there. Anytime I've done these things, the people who want them are willing to pay pretty much anything to get them,
Yeah.
right? Because they look so cool.
Yeah, I would say a lot of that's going to be memorial or a sentimental memorial,
Yeah.
memory of wedding. So
I've done a lot of pets.
So Blake, what do you like better? Do you like I've seen so many different between Steve and Skylar. The differences between like the full 3D effect and like the face kind of going this way.
Mm-hmm.
I when I first saw that whole full 3D, I thought that was like the point of it. But then when I saw that like 2D almost this way, I don't know. I kind of like that look. Like,
Yeah,
I think it looks a little more detailed.
The 2D kind of with the pixels spaced out, I think looks better. But I have Cockpit 3D. I don't know if you've used that, Steve, but that worked really, really well for photographs, and that's the only high quality option I have found to do nice photographs. It does an incredible job. But yeah, I really like the ones that have the pixels kind of built up. I think they look incredible.
Yeah, the full 3D stuff. The problem is you now have pixels in the back too, right? And it doesn't let in as much light, and it's very hard to tell the front from the back when you're looking at it. So what you basically get is a white blob in the middle of a piece of glass.
Yeah,
like all the detail is there, but you just can't make it out.
You should call them marshmallows.
Yeah.
Chris said galvos are great for engraving, not so much you need to cut work area size.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to cut with a galvo unless you're cutting like paper, something thin.
Very thin.
Chris said I love my Sculptphone 5-watt UV galvo for internal.
Yeah, I mean, any of these 5-watt UV lasers, and there's so many of them now, they all do a great job at this. They all use the same laser source, right? So,
no, and I think, like I said, the competitiveness is going to drive down the price.
yeah, but you see, I don't know that it will, because
I think
like I said, they're all using the same laser source, and there's no incentive for those guys to discount prices because you're going to buy that laser source from one of these guys, right? If you're buying a UV laser.
I get it, but what I'm saying is that when there's only 3 people selling it, they can ask a premium price. That's all I'm saying. When everyone has their version of it, it's a little bit of a different story.
Yeah,
that's all.
Well, yeah, the manufacturer of these lasers takes a laser source which does 90% of the work, puts a case around it, and build some software. They might use the manufacturer's software, but like the laser source software, but that's all they do. So their margin is probably pretty small on those things.
Yeah, it's like when you offend someone, you say, "Oh, you have a Reyes fiber laser?" No, it's not. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it probably is.
I don't care what that meant.
If it's not that one, it's this one.
I'm glad that they laser engraved a metal business card and glued it to the side.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm forever getting asked which fiber laser is better, this one or this one. And you look at it, they're both the same. They both use the same source. Oh no, but one has to be better. No, they don't.
It makes you feel better. Buy the one that costs more than.
Yeah, buy the cheapest one.
This comment for you, Blake.
The crystal will crack depending on a few factors. Yeah, that's good info, Steve. It's good to know because I'll definitely pass that on to my customers and in the Facebook group.
Yeah. So Chris is pointing out here what we all learned the hard way at some point.
Yeah.
You got to keep the engraving at least 2 to 3 millimeters away from the edge of the crystal, from any surface, basically.
They wanted me to keep like 10.
Yeah, I typically stay at least 5 millimeters away from the edge.
Okay. I wish I had it within reach to show you guys. The one of my wife and I, it looks incredible. We're actually outside the TV station, about to go on in the winter, and picture turned out incredible.
Nice. All right, you're up, Blake.
Now, my question with running UV for crystals is, you saw them on the market before with before lasers came out and they sold. Is the market going to be saturated to the point everyone loses interest? I think kind of laser. I've definitely seen you around. I think we may have even talked in the past. But I think when you build your business and your brand, you're going to stand out from other people. You can do. Not everybody is going to want to spend the money for Cockpit 3D. But I think if you do, that's going to set you apart from the people that are using the software built into like the X tool that just makes those marshmallow, looking markings inside the crystals. But do something that makes yours stand out from everybody else's. Whatever that may be. You can figure something out, whether it's your final packaging or your branding or just your brand in general in your local area. I guess maybe my follow-up question, Santa's Laser. Where do you sell? Do you have a website? Do you sell locally on Facebook? I think that'd be my next question for you to dig into that further.
Yeah, Santa certainly does some craft market stuff, but yeah, I mean, you have to treat these things like a tool, right? As opposed to some piece of magic that does something for you that no one else can do, because it's all about artistic and design ability, right? Like, I mean, Skylar and I can use the same tools, but Skylar can make something that people want to buy. I'll make a bunch of firewood, right? So it's not the tool, but I mean, I know Santa's concern here is it's like the diode laser market, right? When the first people who had diode lasers could go to craft markets and sell everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then, if you go to a craft market now, everybody's got a diode laser.
Yeah.
And, I think the concern here is the same one. Like, is everybody going to have a UV laser at some point? Because, I mean, like these internal engraved crystals have been around for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But previous to last year, the laser to make these things was a $50,000 unit.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now it's a $3,000 unit, or they're even pushing down to 2,500 range. So there are going to be more people who can do this. I'd be more worried if I had the $50,000 laser than another UV laser.
I kind of second what Blake was saying, that almost like, double down on your niche. For instance, Santa's laser engraving. Obviously, a lot of things are Christmas related. Not all, right? But when it comes to Christmas ornaments, especially your first wedding, your first house, it's a housewarming gift, your baby's first Christmas, those kind of things, like memorial type things, they don't really negotiate the price. They kind of just like, how much does it cost?
Oh,
right.
Yeah, a good market with ornaments at Christmas is, newlyweds, their first Christmas, baby's first Christmas is.
Yeah.
Chris, I connected with a local hardware store just to test.
I don't know what the deal is with the auto delay. I have no idea here.
I connected with a hardware store who cuts a lot of glass window replacements, and nice. I probably got 30 pounds of perfectly cut 4x4 squares. I made a couple for them, just messing around, and then I have a ton of glass to test. And now that I've got my UV printer, I've tested my UV printer on glass, but there's a lot of resources you can use so you're not wasting a crystal. Getting your settings dialed in.
Yeah, definitely get to know someone at a glass company.
Mm-hmm.
Because they break
so
glass all the
getting
time.
Like knockoffs kind of deal, like whatever they're not using, is that then you're just using it as tested?
Let's say they've got a 4-foot piece of glass and they need to cut a 3-foot window. There's 12 inches of scrap. So they have these giant piles of scrap glass that that just sits there, and they could care less. They've already paid for that piece of glass,
Right. Well, that's cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
for sure. Chris said the K9 is a special grade of optical glass that needs to be used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it needs to be used to get the best output. Now, you can't use, like, if you use like craft store glass cubes of some sort, they're probably going to be pretty crappy because they're have all kinds of impurities in them. Like you can barely see through them. They're so bad usually, but and they have distortion in them. What K9 gives you, aside from glass purity, is optical purity as well, right? So there's no ripples in the glass.
Yeah. Chris said, Santa's Living Engraving, those are early ones, will probably produced on $100,000 machines, kind of what he was saying. But crystals are usually personalized. Absolutely. Yeah, I remember seeing those are like catalog order things, like as a kid. And I remember they were fairly expensive.
Yeah, but this is what these current run of UV lasers have done, right? They've allowed people to make what those guys with the $100,000 machines used to make, but now they can personalize it.
Yeah,
right? Because these guys sold stuff in souvenir shops, right? Like they made a million Eiffel Towers, right, and sold them in souvenir shops in Paris. But there was you couldn't put your name on it. You couldn't put your picture in there beside the tower. Like you couldn't do that kind of thing. And that's what you can do now with a laser that costs a fraction of what those lasers were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were just in Florida on spring break, and it was funny walking in the gift shop. And I mean, honestly, like 25-30% of the stuff in there was made with a laser, whether it's the 3D crystals, all the fridge magnets, so much stuff. My kids are like, can I get this? Can I get that? I'm like, no, we can make that. We can make that. So we just and we would make.
But that's good. That's how you want the next generation to think, right? This is what's happening in the world, and it's one of the reasons I started my channel, was to make sure there's another generation of makers behind me.
Yeah. And now that I got the UV printer, we can truly so much of that stuff we can make.
Yeah, well, this is the UV printer is the next generation of this, which is, like Eufy sold so many E1s, and now you're going to see, a billion 2.5D fridge magnets at every craft market, right? It's just one of those things. Now they look really cool.
When I first saw Skylar make those refrigerator magnets, she actually mailed me some refrigerator magnets on the Eufy printer, but it was 3D, right? Yeah. Every time I walk in a Cracker Barrel, something like that, I see a million of those magnets. They say cool things. Now I'm guilty to buy them sometimes, but since it was that raised 3D, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, and that's the big difference there. Now the thing with the E1 is it can only raise things up 5 millimeters. The E print from longer, they say 50 millimeters or 60 millimeters. So
let's go longer. Let's go.
It's somewhere in between, a regular inkjet printer and a 3D printer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how. I wonder if they're going to handle overhangs or something with like are you going to have ink? Are you going to have UV ink supports?
You have to break them off.
Yeah, and break them off at the end.
Chris said 90% of internal work is personalized, so you always have a local market.
Yeah. And this
So
any of the stuff I do is all personalized stuff.
So how sensitive is that to mail? I mean, is it that you got to really, really wrap these? Are they that sensitive?
It's pretty solid. I mean, it's. I mean, you can't have it rattling around in the box, but banging it around, as long as it doesn't hit an edge or a corner, it's not going to break it.
The boxes that I know that I sell them in it's at least half an inch of foam on all sides.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably using the fancy ones that Cockpit sells, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Those are nice boxes.
The problem is that I just had to ship out 6 replacement boxes because I sell them as premium final packaging, and they got to my customer and the boxes were damaged. Inside, the box that the crystal was in. So I had to send out 6 replacement boxes. So I need to do better about delicately packing the stinking box that they're in.
Wrap them in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Chris said Cockpit 3D is a game changer for quality. That was the software you were talking about?
Yeah. It's incredible.
So is that a licensing thing, like one of those coin things, or flat out buy it? How does it work with that software?
It's software. You have to buy points. I don't know the current state of the software. I got in with them when they were kind of in a transition state. But I believe it's about $500 a year, depending on which version you go with or what package of points you buy. And then you can also get your supplies right through them as well with the crystals and everything.
Cool.
Yeah, they have good glass too.
Yeah.
So good crystal.
Sanders Living Grade said, living 45 minutes from Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, I have local market shows and tours. Definitely being in a touristy area helps for sure.
Yeah. See, that's when like where I live, it's always touristy in the summertime, right? I live, 20 minutes from the biggest harbor on the East Coast of North America, and we get probably 15, 20 cruise ships in here a year. And they all get off the boat and they want to buy something, right? So there's the whole pier downtown is just lined up with craft people.
So Blake, I brought my son to Chinatown for the first time. He's 5. My daughter's been there a million times, and he says to me, "Kid's 5, right? They have like no filter." He says, "Where's the Temu store?" I said, "This is the Temu store."
We are in Temu.
The dysfunctional woodworker, Howdy from Pennsylvania,
Northwest Pennsylvania.
Looks like someone cha-ching ching, $5.
Hey,
They're wanting some information. He is the crystal source.
I did post a link in the chat there, or not a link, but I just posted the name BWM 10 watt UV with the light burn switch, and Pascal is doing one as well with the light burn switch. He's doing the same thing.
So Pascal told me he wanted me to do all this stuff for the 30 watt raised laser. I did all of it, and when you first searched his company, they were like on the 3rd page in Google, and I got him to rank #1 under the Omtech and someone else who were only 1 and 2 because they were paid, and it clearly says paid advertisers, so that's why they're #1 and 2. I ranked them #1 under the paid.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, man, so you're sending me the UV? Can you do these 7 other things? And I was just mad. I said, I'm gonna walk away so I don't ruin a relationship, but you really made me mad. Hey, I failed my obligations, brother. But so I think at some point I'll have that laser, but I have like 6 things he wants me to do.
Yeah.
There you go. With light switch.
Yeah. It's
so it's just a physical switch. So what is it doing? Is it using 2 different internal cards?
Yeah. I don't know if it'd be considered a card or controller. Yeah. It engages when you switch it to the one side, then the software and controller will control the Z-axis, where when you switch to light burn, it takes that out. You can, it reminds me of an old, high power switch. You can really hear it when you switch the switch back and forth.
Yeah, well, it's probably switching all the stepper motors and stuff too.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
And the laser source as well.
Yeah.
Chris said, I have a tour spot. You can tell where it's from.
4,000 kilometers away.
Want to talk about souvenirs? Yeah. So what's 4,000 kilometers in miles?
Divided by 1,600.
Oh man, I need a calculator for that.
We'll give you thousands.
Kilometers.
Yeah, it's 1.6. Sorry. So 4,000 divided by 1.6.
Yeah, that was not right.
Close. Whoops. Chris said UV galvos that are the new X-Tool D1.
UV galvos are the new. Oh yeah, so this ubiquitous platform. Yeah, there's so many of them everywhere now.
Yeah.
EM Smart has one. Cloud Ray has one. All the standard big companies have them.
Yeah, you're
so
up, Steve.
Steve, like the Elegoo Saturn has a 300 millimeter build. You just can't easily get it out. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, he's talking about resin printers.
Yeah, Chris, that was definitely my bad. I should have known.
Oh, it's actually Chris that happened to?
No,
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
I'm just saying it's a lot. Like, I mean, we're not just throwing these tiny boxes in a giant box or anything. So they were secure in there, but they definitely were not secure enough to not damage the boxes. They were definitely moving around. So I should have done better, but I didn't give any pushback to the customer. You know, I want my customers to be happy, so I just told them right away. You know, I'll pack them up some boxes and send them out.
I can't tell you how many times I order something and I just get that like that poly mailer over the box. It's like, thanks for nothing. You might as well kicked it out the front door. She sent it to me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I had somebody send me something, and they literally put it just inside a cardboard box, like no foam, no anything. And it's like, okay, this thing came from China. Well, and you know, it wasn't the best cardboard even. So it's like the thing came. It was actually an oven for resin, and one of the thermal panes of glass was broken. There was a big like boot print in the side of the thing. It was like, yeah, just I'll send this right to recycling.
Yeah, crazy. Santa's Lays Engraving said, "Go to the Timu comment. That's funny. Have a great evening, everyone." Yeah.
See you, Santa.
Take it easy, brother. I'll get back to your email later this afternoon. When do you guys want to take this?
Thoughts on the new We Create UV MOPA combo. I'm hoping it will drive down prices on some of the current generation engravers. I don't know anything about that one, but I feel like We Create has been just blowing up. Like, I feel like they got the lasers in the right people's hands, and they're doing some good marketing, because I get, like I said, I field a ton of questions all day from our website and in the Facebook group, and people are constantly asking me about the Recreate, and I have to tell them I don't know anything about them. I will say I let somebody come to my shop and run a tumbler order before they had their laser, and with what I taught him, he was able to get his We Create laser on Friday, and on Saturday he was running tumblers. So I was pretty proud of him, because I know how intimidating tumblers can be. But
yeah,
you guys have any more knowledge on We Create?
Well, so We Create, their first diode laser was, you know, the proverbial game changer. It was actually really nice, and then they did the We Create Vista, which wasn't a fantastic laser, diode laser, and then they did the Vision Pro, which it was okay. It was bigger workspace, but there were a few manufacturing issues with it. But now they went to this to the Galvo platform, and there's a few of these UV MOPA combos coming out. They just, I think, got there first. I can't think of another one right now. There's probably one, but Skylar loves this thing. Like, she's done some really cool things with it. You know, it's good to see them back. They asked me if I wanted to review this, but I just couldn't work it into my schedule.
What's the price?
But yeah, it's a nice looking laser.
What's the price point on it?
I don't know. I think it's probably $3,500.
Oh, wow, for a combo?
Or maybe 4. I don't know. Like, again, don't quote me, because
the only thing that I would say, and I'm not bashing no one, I'm just saying, speaking in general from my experience, is anytime anything's a multi anything, it's not the best either, right?
So
that's
$36.99.
I'm seeing
starting price, of course.
Oh, low price. Okay.
So Chris said AliExpress gives lessage in packaging. The outer is destroyed, but the product is undamaged.
Yeah. So I would agree with your comment, and I have agreed with your comment about multi-tools being kind of okay at everything and not great at anything. But I will disagree now that I have a metal fab.
The only thing that I'm saying is, you you know that going into it though, right? It's
Well,
not like they
kind
can
of,
shoot
yeah.
the bait on you. If you understand the limitations, the give and takes on what you're buying, you can't play the victim card. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, keep in mind, nothing about the metal fab is designed to be cheap, right? So,
Yeah, that's more of an industrial tool.
yeah, like most people buy these multi-tools because they're getting 2 tools essentially for the price of 1.
Yeah.
But that means they've cut corners twice, right, to get there.
Right.
So,
Right. I think that's the difference between a multi-laser that's $3,500, $3,000, versus a multi-tool that's $6,000, $10,000. That there's a big difference. You know what I mean? It's
I don't know what the U.S. price
to
is.
me, I almost
I
figure
think
that
the
as
U.S.
not a
price is
multi-tool,
probably
that's
14 or 15.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, 15,000 versus that's a big difference.
So with just the 6-watt UV, it's $3,699. For the combo with a 6-watt UV, 60-watt MOPA, $5,790. And when you go up to 100-watt MOPA, 6-watt UV, it's $6,990.
Yeah. So how much is just a MOPA?
I don't see the MOPA option. I only see the UV option.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is that price is so good. That's pretty much what a reputable brand MOPA costs. So it's almost like getting 2 for 1.
Yeah. Which is pretty impressive because it has to do a lens change.
Yeah. It's like a 2 for 1. So that's what I'm saying. So if there was some give and take on that, it's a 2 for 1. You gotta, you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. You're literally paying half the price.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is when we start talking about purposing lasers, right? Like we always say one is like having none. When you start getting these lasers and dial them in, and at first it may save you money, but then somewhere later on down the road, you may designate it one or the other, right?
Yep.
So, but I get it. Like the well's not unlimited, right? At some point, the well dries up. So you have to make decisions on what's going to be the best way to start off and kick off. And even that multi-tool could be started that way. And then later on have additional designated machines. But we all have different levels of, jumping into the deep end of the pool.
I think all of these, I think these will be like a short-term product. Like X-Tool does it too, right? With like most they usually throw a 40-watt diode laser into everything, right? And I mean, honestly, if I was using a diode laser to do anything, I wouldn't be using it on a galvo because it's most of the time you want to cut with the thing. So, but they throw it in because it's cheap. It's a cheap feature for them, right? So, but I think ultimately those are going to come apart at some point. I mean, there's always going to be some of them, I guess, but
right. Yeah, I think that the open frame diode lasers 100% is now truly an entry level laser, right? Because the closed lasers are a lot more reasonably priced. So I would say the only reason I would say anyone would be an open frame is they're testing the market, right? You want to see, is this something I'm going to like? Is this something I'm going to be able to do? Before they go drop $3,000 and say, I just, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Notice the open frame lasers are getting smaller again.
Super small, and every
this box back here is a Pixie that's dead right now, but it's tiny, right? It's got a 50 millimeter workspace or 70 millimeters. Is that the UV one or IR one?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what this box is, but I killed it, so they're going to send me another one.
You'll see it coming out in a video soon. I was actually going to do it early this month, but Lois pushed me to do some videos early this month, and then told me I had to pull them back and push them out the end of the month. So I was like,
I have 3 videos that are in mid-production right now because I've been killing lasers left, right, and center. I literally have a pile of lasers like up to here in my shop that are dead. It's like I have a
Jinx.
I have a CO2 laser that I killed, which it's one that hasn't been announced. Now it's a prototype, so I can buy into it. What's the big? Oh, geez, it's going to kill me, and they're going to kill me for not remembering. I did another diode laser, the big alien cell. I had a bunch of those piled up because they were dead. And now this pixie's dead. But it's frustrating, right? Because you get half done something. Like I didn't put a video out for a month and a half because I have 3 of them ready to go, but not quite finished.
Yeah. Hopefully I have better luck with that Pixie. We'll see.
I mean, it was working fine, and then I ran literally the same job twice, and the first time it worked, and I went, oh damn, I forgot to turn on my camera, so I ran it again and dead. Nothing happened. And that was kind of like the last thing I needed too. So it was frustrating.
Chris said we create would have a better name if they would bidirectional work from the start.
Yeah. So I started working with We Create. Like the first We Create I had was a prototype, and I said, like, how come bidirectional print engraving's not working? They said, well, we don't have it in the software yet. It's like, what? Really? How hard is this? Just take the next line and reverse it and print in the opposite direction. But it took them a long time to get that right. I'm not sure why.
You said adaptability is key in ongoing marker business. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the thing, like we rely on China to supply us lasers, but if you have a good idea, they'll be selling it by the container load in no time.
Mm-hmm.
But other people here too, right? Like we all have similar skills, and if I see something you make, I could literally make it in a day, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be ready. You got to keep going with the good ideas. Otherwise, you're just gonna, you'll be drowning in competition.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple comments in the comments, I didn't share them, but I just want to address it shortly and briefly. They also happened to Roger. So I just want to say that those who watch live know that Roger recently lost his wife, and he's going through a little bit difficult time. So I think he's going to step away from the live a little bit to kind of just catch up on life a little bit. So might not see him in the next couple lives, but I'm sure he'll join us at some point. But I think he just needs some support. So if you guys want to show him some love on our Facebook group and say you're praying for him, you have thoughts for him, whatever, just he's going through a tough time right now. So I'd say just everyone respect that, and let's not limelight someone's struggles right now. Steve, you want to take this?
Chris says, so when will we see Steve's laser spare parts website? So funny you should mention this. My laser that I built myself, my 90-watt CO2 laser, is now retired officially. I now have this new rule in my shop: when new stuff comes in, old stuff goes out. And when the metal fab came in, it takes a ton of room, right? It's big. So the only thing that made a hole big enough to hold that thing was my CO2 laser. So it had to retire.
Oh man!
Did you by any chance see the live where Steve showed that in his garage?
No.
You have those pictures handy, Steve?
Showed what?
I'll have to look at it.
When they first brought it into your garage. How big?
Oh yeah, hang on.
Oh, of
This
the
thing is
metal
like-
fab?
It's a full pallet, and like one of those long pallets, like the HVAC they put on commercial buildings on the roof.
Yeah. No, they were gonna try to get one to the Maker Summit, and I'm like, I don't know if we can make it happen. Does it need 210?
It has two 220 circuits that are different, by the way.
Okay.
And so that's one of the 2 boxes that came. The other box is in behind the pallet. And I left my Kubota there for scale.
Yeah,
it's pretty big.
That's huge.
Yeah. Now I gotta say, man, the packaging they did on this was just wild. Actually, since I'm here, I want to brag about something.
Oh, you got it.
Woo! Silver play button.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I didn't have to pay for it either, by the way.
Nice. Cool.
You have to go to a site that's like you're buying it, but when you get to the bottom, there's $0.
Perfect.
So
Very cool. Very cool. Excited for you.
thanks everyone for subscribing. So
Yeah. So you didn't say when you're going to open that website, though. All those parts.
Yeah, so I don't. I mean, if you want a
It's on
90-watt
eBay.
laser tube, I have 2 of them actually, but I don't think I can ship them to Australia.
It's going to be on eBay, guys. Search for Steve's name. Chris said, I don't think I have an original idea, but I go extreme on modifying other ideas. That's nothing wrong with that. Your own spin on something.
Well, also you look at something and you go, I can improve that.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes where there's lots of money to be made too.
So the Bearded Viking took someone's design, and it was like this pyramid style Christmas tree that was basically plywood, started with like a 6-inch and went down all the way to like a 1-inch, right? And his was just purely wood. And then I upped it one more and I painted it, and then I added fairy lights on it, that would go with music. But when I made that video, I was kind of reluctant to kind of like really promote that video, because the last cut on that piece is a 1-inch by 1-inch square on a 45-degree cut all the way around. And I was like, man, that was pretty sketchy. I wouldn't bought special ways to hold the wood with like those jig holders, because man,
And you cut it on a table saw?
Yes.
Yeah.
On a DeWalt table saw.
Wow.
Yeah, at least if you're gonna get that close to the blade with anything, use a saw stop.
Yeah. No, I bought this like jig that you could like lift things and space it out. It's like a handle over the wood.
Yeah, you could have used like a handsaw, right? That probably would have been safer.
Yeah, but yeah, and even in his video, he kind of said like, if you're not really comfortable with saws, is not something you should do.
Or an oscillating tool would also do it.
I got
You're gonna say something?
I got one more on Chris's comment. Like one of my best selling products is our hat clip. I didn't invent the hat clip, but the original version that I saw was like 25 millimeters. And I'm like, man, if it was just a little bit bigger. So I tweaked the design, and mine is a 30 millimeter hat clip. And it's all the time. David's like, other people are selling the hat clip. So-and-so is selling it cheaper, but I'm not just teaching people or selling the hat clip. I try to teach them how to be successful in all the different kind of markets that can fit into. So, we don't have these original ideas, but you can definitely not even give your original spin on the idea, but even just how you sell it, where can it be used, even going back to rotaries. So many people say the rotary market's oversaturated. I do a lot of part marking for automotive, and I do part marking with a rotary as well. So even just with a tool like the rotary, you can adapt that to other things. It doesn't just have to be tumblers. You could focus on baseball bats or rolling pins.
The one thing I think is different is that even though it may seem like a unique size difference, what would make a big difference is not just making the engraving on the face side, but that curved part.
Yeah.
When I saw people doing that sharing that on your group, laser engraving that curved part, I thought that was cool, because it just gives you just that little bit more of a space. It's not a big space to begin with.
No.
So just the small amount, a little bit more space, that makes it way more manageable too.
Every additional upgrade, engraving, I charge extra. So like for little league teams, people will put, the logo here, they'll put the kid's name here, and then the number down on the bottom. So that's 3 engravings on this tiny little clip that take you 10 seconds each. We retail this with one engraving for $11.
So how do you recommend doing that? Are you jigging them? Are you how on a table, rotary table, rotary tool? How?
When I'm mass producing these for like a craft show, getting ready, I typically will do them. Now that I have the maxi table, I use that. But previously, I would fill my gantry bed with hat clips with a jig, and I would run all those hat clips. I don't typically mass produce the side markings of the bottom engraving, but when I do, I'll typically do those on like the fiber laser, and use a jig.
Okay. Yeah, our buddy sent me the rotary table, so you'll be seeing that come out soon.
Who's that?
Let's go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you'll see the rotary table. That's all I was kind of asking. I thought maybe I could set something up with that.
Yeah.
And what's his? I think he's Puerto Rican. Another guy you're friends with. We're a mutual friend of ours. He makes a lot of jigs, 3D printed. What's his name?
Daniel, Live Creates. So he sells jigs for all of our products.
Yes. So yeah, we've had him on our live before too. He's a good guy. He sent me a lot of stuff. I owe him some reviews too. So I wanted to kind of mirror them up with that table.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah. If anybody's looking to kind of either laser cut their own jigs or or 3D print their own jigs, I designed a tool. I made an app that actually designs jigs. I saw
cool.
One day somebody commented on one of my posts asking for a jig for our journals, and I'm like, how? I just blew my mind. This is like a Saturday night. So Sunday morning, I'm like, I've got to make a tool. How can I easily make it so that people can just make a simple jig for a journal or whatever? So I designed an app where you can go in, you put the dimensions of your workspace for your laser, dimensions of the item. I even built in the bolt hole pattern for fiber lasers or for the maxi table, so that you can then export the SVG and cut out that jig, and also can export STL.
How much is that app?
It's free.
Oh wow!
Yeah, check it out.
You gotta drop the link to that. You are a member of our Facebook group, right?
Yeah.
You gotta drop it in there.
Yeah.
You gotta drop it in there. Very cool. You guys see, this is again what we're saying, that anyone could sell something, but when they have that support structure, that's amazing. That could be easily a $50 app.
No, for sure, and it's definitely not perfect, but it's a great tool. I mean, for some of those simple things, you can make a jig for so many things. Good night, honey. Love you.
See, Steve's, what you don't know is he's OnlyFans, so you might make jigs to sell for other things.
It's been a while.
That's why he's able to retire early. Steve's also known as a silver fox. Our real subscribers know. So Blake, I always said that you can only make fun of your friends, otherwise bullying someone, right? So as a camaraderie, the Brotherhood group, I think we're on like almost 2 years doing these podcasts now. We've had these internal inside jokes, right? And one of them was what I called Steve the Silver Fox. It's funny now when once in a while somebody writes in the comments, because when they make those type of comments, it actually makes me like warms me up a little bit, because it means like the only way you know that is you're really someone who follows us, right?
Yeah, it gets dug up every now and again.
Yeah,
you know, we'll have a contest at some point, and we'll have some trivia about my past.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. Someone said, "Congratulations, Steve."
Thanks.
Another bi-directional one. Says Mark.
Actually, I feel like it's something simple that I don't know the term. What is
original generation?
No, what we create was struggling with in the beginning.
Oh,
so it's either
bi-directional.
it this way, or as it goes across, and then also laser as it comes
it
back.
would only engrave in one direction.
Okay.
So it would come back and go back again, and it was
So
just
it's like
slow,
double
right?
pass.
Like it was brutally slow. And they actually had it in the software. You could turn on bi-directional, but it would crash. It would just blow up.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what they did to even make it hard, let alone why they didn't solve it.
Yeah. So Mark said, for those who may not be aware, the reason we read these comments out loud, because you may say, "Hey, I can see the comment. You don't have to read it," is there's a fair share of people who don't always have the ability to watch our lives, but are listening. And then if and when they decide, "Oh, I want to comment on this," they run to a computer, but they are multitasking, or they're at work and they're not supposed to be listening to a podcast. Mark said, "I have an OG Lumos, and it is both unidirectional and bidirectional engraving. Honestly, bidirectional is only slightly faster, but it may add up at a batch product." Yeah, absolutely. When you're pushing out, if you're making one of something, you are saving time. But if you're making 60, it's definitely going to add up.
So he highlights the ultimate problem with their solution, right? They finally did figure out how to do bidirectional printing or engraving, but it isn't any faster than single direction, or very, very marginally different. Chris says, Tim, surely by now you must have gotten one of everything from Steve. Yeah, Tim. So Tim lives not too far from me, and I've discovered recently that I can send him something in the post. Like I sent him a box on Monday at about 10 o'clock, and he had it the next day, which was impressive because it wasn't like, send it fast. It was just send it. So I think they're reserving a special car for me to take my packages down to Tim's place.
At one point, I publicly displayed my address, and our audience was like, "Yo, Rick, no, don't do that." You know what I mean? Like, that was very bad. Re-edit this video, blur that out. Be very careful about that. And some of our regulars said, "Hey, Rick, I'm just gonna start mailing you random weird stuff, some socks, a can of pop." So I expected some funny things to show up. So I'm glad nothing did.
At some point, I'm going to drive by your place and TP the place. Throw tomatoes at your windows or something.
Tim said, "Nope, I'm after the Exo UV best fiber laser from him."
Oh, I didn't tell you, Tim. I sold it.
Now I'll talk about being TP.
No, I didn't sell it.
It's on tonight.
Yeah, it's there's a waiting list for if I ever sell that X-Tool UV printer or UV laser. Tim's top of the list there. So, but
Blake, this question's for
6 or 7 people I could sell it to in a second.
I'm not sure what it is.
Chris says, for sure. So often, I think if this is only a few millimeters or inches bigger, yeah.
It was your hat clips, but he's just making. We call it dad jokes. Normally, someone make like that, and then you'll see all in the comments, "Dad joke, dad joke, dad joke." It's kind of funny.
Santa's usually the dad joke guy.
Yeah.
I threw the link down in the chat. It's
it's actually the next one down.
/ Jake Gen Pro.
Cool name too.
Chris said he's gonna mail me. We'll get to that one.
That's it, Chris. I've never. I have a fiber with holes 25 millimeters apart and a UV with 20 holes 20 millimeters apart. A simple adapter means all my jigs work for both. I have not seen that. All of my lasers have had the same bolt pattern, which I think is 25, right?
Yeah, so an inch basically. Yeah, I forget what laser I have that has different hole spacing. It's like some stupid thing. It's not even 20. It's like 18 or 22. It's like just weird. And it drives me nuts because I can't make a jig that runs on both machines.
I mean, you just put both bolt hole patterns on it.
No, I'll sell one of the lasers.
That makes sense.
That'll teach it.
Yeah, I got rid of 2 of mine. I think Santa's Laser Engraving has one of mine, and one of our other subscribers has one of mine as well. Chris, I could send Rick my old box of socks. Yeah, we always had those odd 1-ball socks, like,
Megan
what does
says,
everyone think about X-Tool's Wonder Press?
What is it? Is it
So X-Tool came out with this thing called the Wonder Press, which is a DTF heat press, as well as a couple of other things it'll do. It'll do vacuum forming. I don't know. Tim's been eyeing that one up. Tim, I might actually have one of those coming, so you can maybe swing by if that's the case. It might be here this week. And like I don't do a lot of DTF stuff anymore, but I do think that vacuum forming would be something that I want to be able to do.
I would love
vacuum forming. One thing that I saw people were doing with that is they were 3D printing something, and then they were vacuum over the top of it, and it was causing that like embossment.
Yep.
So that you don't need that like huge 3D hold like steel or aluminum, whatever that was, cast aluminum.
Yeah. Well,
Plate.
vacuum forming doesn't involve a lot of heat to the thing you're forming around, right? They've
Pressure.
plastic, and then they
Right.
suck it down onto something, so it's not on there long enough to melt like if you 3D printed a form.
Right. You just have to be transparent in that garment to know after so many washes this may go away, right? But
Yeah.
but they have Adidas hoodies like that now, and Nike hoodies like that now. And you're buying a $65, $75 Nike hoodie, and 20 washes later it's just a regular hoodie. That kind of sucks. Like, oh man, don't dry it, just wash it.
But vacuum forming on this Wonder Press is nice because that means you can do like plastic packaging on stuff if you want.
Yeah, for your case,
I guess if you're if you fly radio controlled planes or cars, you can vacuum form windshields and
RC cars. Yeah, for sure. Right. Dewey said, "Hey, dad jokes are my thing."
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I knew it was one of you guys. And speaking of which, where's the dad joke today? Oh, there are 10 types of people in the world: those who know binary and those who don't. Yeah.
Oh man. Chris said, "Redu, those are the ones who don't know binary. The same are the 112% that are bad at statistics." Yeah.
112%. Yeah.
30 minutes left in the live, guys. Everything's going great. Appreciate everyone checking in. If you have any questions, let us know. Thank you, Blake, for joining us. You've shared some good information with us and shared some great resources with us. So that's very, very cool. Very cool. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been doing this?
We started in 2020. Molly wanted to get a glow forge, and I looked it up, and it was like, I don't know, between $6,000 and $8,000. And I'm like, just the workspace alone for me, I wasn't really opposed to the money. It was like, I just feel like that's too small of a workspace. So I got connected. I mean, I researched for about a month, got connected with a manufacturer in China, and we bought a laser straight from the manufacturer, and it's still going today. That thing, just a solid workhorse. I learned a lot. We had a laser fire, and I had to practically rebuild most of the laser. And it, don't get me wrong, I wish that didn't happen. But what I learned in that process, I was so intimidated by the laser as a whole. But once I had to rebuild it, I learned it's really just like everything else. There's all these small components that kind of come together to make the laser. So, replacing the belts, I had to replace belts. I had to replace the laser head. I ended up doing the power supply shortly after, the laser tube, many different things. And I learned a lot, and that was a great start. I'm really glad we didn't start with the glow forge. We would have outgrown it in no time at all. Molly was crushing it with earrings and ornaments. She got into boutiques, selling earrings by the hundreds to local boutiques. So she paid that laser off in about 2 months, and then I kind of got involved. And when I thought, like, hey, we should do guy stuff at craft shows, and then that really took off, and things just kind of kept progressing. And for me to kind of, my passion why I've been successful in my career is kind of helping other people to be successful. So I'm like, how can I kind of pivot this business and adapt to kind of my passions so that this could be something that I could do full time. And, that's kind of where Great Lakes Laser Supply came into play. When I can kind of figure out that business model where it's not even really about the blanks, I help everybody with everything. So, I could see in the future that we maybe we don't even sell blanks. It's just a business model where I can just help people, with their businesses, which, the Michigan Maker Summit definitely helps too, because, that's just all about the community. It's, I have a booth at the Michigan Maker Summit, but I'm not even in the booth. I'm talking to people, talking to the vendors, networking, and just really, really helping everybody. Now, kind of the next step for the Michigan Maker Summit, and I need to delegate a little bit because I'm running the whole thing. I literally put the whole thing on. I don't get me wrong, I have a lot of help, but everything is, kind of my responsibility. I don't even get to network as much as I would like to.
I think you said you want to invite Steven. I think that's what I heard.
Thank you. I invited you. I don't think I connected with Steve, but you were like 3.5 hours away.
Yeah, your customs guys aren't very nice to us these
Yeah.
days.
So Blake, someone said,
Admirals fan. I am not a sports guy at all. I grew up with my roommates after high school and college were sports fanatics. So I don't watch any sports. I'll help anybody. And I unintentionally, there's a rivalry in Michigan State, and I didn't intentionally make the logo like Michigan, but so then everybody who likes Michigan State, which is white and green, it's like I'm not buying a hat. I'm not buying a shirt. Because of how I made the logo. It wasn't really intentional. It's what I liked.
So I wanted to comment on what Chris said here. It said I can't help but help people. But only reason I started charging for helping people. I haven't put out a lot of content recently, and I lost my grandfather, and it kind of threw me off my game. This podcast kind of kept me going. And I'm back, right, and I'm going to come strong. But I definitely took a step back, and it threw me off. I tried to produce some content, and I just wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to put out crap. So if my heart wasn't in it and I was just distracted by things, I was going to do that. Right. And that's what I've done. But while I was doing that, I was helping a lot of other people because I had some time on my hand with their channels, and I was doing that all for free. But kind of what Chris says is it's to the point now that it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I think I'm helping people enough that I could say, like, here's 10 people, like big examples of what I've done. That I think if people want my help, I think they're just gonna have to pull their wallet out. And I don't mean to be like mean, but like there's an extent of helping, like with tidbits, like, questions, comments. But if you're spending 2 hours with someone in a Zoom call, that's kind of,
Yeah. I haven't charged I haven't done a lot of formal kind of help like that. I do some because there are definitely people who want like real help, but
yeah,
what I'll end up doing is spending, a couple of sessions with them, and they pay me, and then after that, it's just like, okay, you talk to me enough, you know me, so it's just like, ask me a question, we'll get it done.
Right. Let's get the training wheels off, and then just hit.
Yeah, I mean, like Jim can send me a message anytime, and I'll answer him pretty quickly. But
but I've dug pretty deep in people's analytics and gave them things. Hey, I thought you tweak this and that, and and show them how their SEO scores and how it's impacting, and how not to make too many changes at once, and maybe go back and do more than one changes at different times, because if you make too drastic changes, to just make the same amount of impact, and just kind of show them, and like, kind of, here's literally my stats, and these are the changes I made, and you can see it. So implement the same type of changes, and just because always something worked for me doesn't always work for you, so there can be slightly tweaks you do, knowing your market, knowing your audience.
But like I've got that like a 45-minute drive almost daily, so I typically will help people during that drive for free and just kind of talk through stuff. But if I help in person, then I charge.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to start doing that, and like I said, kind of what Chris said, like, it just becomes when it's once in a while, it's one thing, but when it comes like a normal task you're doing, I think then it's taken away from something else like we're doing for myself, and just I think I'm helping them enough that it's worth it. So yeah, you might start seeing some of that. If you need help, you got a visa, let me know. Hold on. So another one for you. I meant to say Blake, but said Blade.
No problem. It's a really cool new product. I was really worried that this new product, that I was overhyping it. I ordered, I think I had a sample production that I ran, and then I ran a bigger batch just to get out to some people to check out with 500 of them. And they blew up. I couldn't believe how everybody wanted these golf club.
What is it?
It goes in the end of a golf club, and you typically will sell them in sets of 14. I really try to focus on things that are unique that not everybody has. I don't just want to carry all the same products as everybody else. This is something that I designed, manufactured, and made, but it just goes in the end of a golf club. You can put a logo, you can put your name and phone number, you can put some golf shops are putting like reminders, don't forget, tweak your grip on this club. They're pretty lightweight. Now I did launch a brass version as well, but that has some weight to it. But they're pretty cool, and we do try to ship same day if orders are in before like 10 a.m. They all go out same day.
We got a pretty high quality brass connection. I don't know if you've ever seen some of the stuff Steve and I got from him.
No.
Man.
Coin blanks. Yeah. Well, he has all kinds of stuff, but I get coin blanks.
He can make anything you want out of brass.
Swiss buoy or
I forget his name. I'd have to look for it.
Unlimited, something unlimited.
I think I have it saved. Oh yeah, here you go. I have it saved in our because people ask so often.
Oh, limitless, not unlimited.
Check it out.
Yeah, limitless sushi.
There's a guy right in Grand Rapids. His name's Swiss Buoy. Really, really good guy. And maybe honestly, you guys could help me figure out how to talk to him. I feel like there's a little bit of a barrier. I want to help him grow his business. He does a lot of coins. And as Great Lakes Laser Supply, nothing would make me happier than to sell a coin that's made right here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. But I cannot get him to work with me at all. I'm going to promote his product and sell his product, but he doesn't. I'm not even trying to make a margin on it in a sense, but I'm like, right. I do free shipping over $60, so we got to account for that in some way. But he does some really nice work. Pretty cool that it's made right here too.
Yeah, he's in India, India or Pakistan, something like that. So I think that's part of why the raw material is so cheap.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I was surprised, I don't know how he's shipping them, because I know a lot of guys overseas, they have like brokers or shippers. Because most of the times when I get something shipped on the other side of the world, it's a 30-day invention. And I was surprised I got it like it was from California. It was like days.
Yeah, it was quick. It's usually pretty quick.
He must have some kind of broker. He's not, dropping in some little mom and pop ship shop. He must have some kind of broker. But I would say that it's the only coins I've ever seen or any brass things it's mint quality. Like,
yeah, they're pretty nice, and they're like, I mean, it frustrates me when I see people buying coin blanks on Amazon because they're such crap. I mean, they're half of them are zinc.
People have been like, how come when I go through it turns this color? I'm like, well, it's not brass.
But it's even worse than that, right? Like it's not going to engrave, but when you start engraving zinc, you get you'll have people running their lasers with zinc fever, right? Because like this is something welders worry about. Because you're basically creating zinc dust floating around everywhere, and it's just, they're not good.
Yeah.
I only found the calm marker ones on Amazon were the only ones I found that were actually brass. The rest of them are like gold painted zinc things, and they're just terrible. But this guys are like super quality brass.
It's like, it sucks when you do something like that on video, because that type of video never does it justice until someone has that in their hand. They're like, holy crap. Like, I have one that's titanium. Remember that? I have a titanium coin. Like, and everyone keeps telling me, like, what are you going to do with them? Man, I want to put Aztec calendar on it. But he's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely a good resource to go to.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even go to like the local metal superstore here and buy a 3 millimeter round for the price he sells them for.
Wow,
yeah, because Steve
and I mean, I have knurled edges, and it's like, I can't. It's twice as much money to buy them.
Yeah, Steve and I started putting out a lot of coins, but there were different styles. Like Steve had that like patina look, right? The black with it, and I was going like the super high polished with the slight patina, but more of a high polish. But in order to get that real high polish, you need a good metal, right? Because like you said, it's
I'm much lazier than you are too, obviously. I don't have the patience to make something shiny.
You know, I made a couple coins and I put it out there and said which one looks better, and it was vast majority like that style, so I went with it. And I don't make them constantly. I just make batches, and then I put it on Facebook, and within a week they're gone. No matter how many I make, they're gone within a week. You know, but I think if I made them constantly, that wouldn't be the case, right? So you know, they're like a limited run, so to speak. So
Yeah.
if they want one, they got to buy it right away. Redui said, I don't tell I tell dad jokes even though I don't have any kids. I guess I'm papa.
A faux pas.
I like this. He said, Rick, how about giving advice to Patreon client? It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. You know, hey,
Yeah, or do you have membership turned on your channel?
I do. I only
Do
have
it
like
that
2
way.
members.
Do it that way. I was actually thinking of introducing a new tier, which is the hey, call me tier or something, right? Where we can set up regular chats.
I think it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be $2 a month. It's going to be more than that because it's an hour of time usually, right? But for people that kind of want that support, maybe they're just getting started or they're trying something new.
Yeah, I just think I've had YouTube for 8 years. Like if you look at my store, right? But in reality, it's only been like 3 years when putting out content. I just had a YouTube account, so it's kind of like commenting stuff. More of a user than a I don't want to say YouTubers. Steve gets mad. We're not YouTubers. We're not influencers. Right?
I'm a YouTuber. I'm not an influencer.
Okay, all right. So maybe YouTubers, not influencers. But the point is that just some like things what I've learned in the last year and a half. If I would have known that 3 years ago, I would have been so much farther. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
I was thinking, now that I've kind of reached this 100,000 tier, I was thinking of kind of going back and giving a boost to people who are trying to get their channels going, because I don't know, you probably watched a million YouTube how-to videos as well, and people said a whole bunch of stuff to you. Oh, you got to be creating your channel this way or your videos this way, and it's all crap. Like it's just that is not how you succeed on YouTube, right?
yeah.
And some things have changed fairly recently. Actually, the algorithm has changed quite a bit. For the longest time, like the YouTube growth people were always saying, oh, just find something somebody else has done and create your own variation of it. Well, that'll get you 0 views on YouTube now with the new algorithm, right? So you got to be first and you got to be original.
So I will spoiler on some new content I'm about to drop, but what I want to say is that YouTube is very top heavy.
Yeah, of course.
And YouTube's switching it up. And the reason I think YouTube's switching it up is because all these big time YouTubers, Mr. Beast and all these big timers, when they tell you, you should do this or you should do that, it works for them. You know why it works for them? Because they don't actually matter. And what I mean by that is that they don't have to promote their content. They can write a video that says socks in the description. No tag.
I mean,
no
the top
0 SEO score. And YouTube is still going to promote them and put them right at the top because of who they are. People will watch it. But
the top 15 or 20 YouTubers are on the YouTube payroll, right? So of course YouTube is going to promote the crap out of them.
Right, but they're not anymore. Mr. Beast and like 3 of the top.
So
YouTubers
his views have dropped 56%.
Yep.
For no apparent reason. He makes the same videos he always made.
Well, that is the reason. That
that might be it, but
but the thing is too is that like once you get to that level, that I think that since you're being self-promoted, right, you don't really need YouTube. So like they're getting all these brand deals outside of YouTube, and YouTube's like, hey man, remember me? I'm the one to help you get here. Like throw me a bone. So if all their content is becoming outside of YouTube, why do they have to invest so much in you?
Anyway, I wouldn't mind starting a second YouTube channel or do a new YouTube channel just to kind of say, hey, here's the real truth about growing on YouTube, right?
Yeah,
but the problem is the algorithm is so fluid in YouTube that the advice you give somebody today, like the advice these people are giving was valid 5 years ago, but it's not valid now.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are complaining their views are dropping off.
Yep, and that's why all those people, their views are dropping. All of a sudden, you're seeing they must have dropped $100,000 on Facebook on these ad campaigns, because you just see them non-stop courses.
Mhm.
The same guy says, hey, their views are down 57%. How are you selling a course? Because you need money.
Yeah.
You go look at their stats, and Already, we said, did I misrespond your sticker request? No. Thank you to everyone who sent their sticker requests in. I honor that. I said, anyone who wants a sticker made for free, I will be sending you some stickers made of your logo for free of charge, and they will just have to be set standard U.S. mail. The reason you're looking at these DeWalt tools and not that side of my shop is because I've been doing some upgrades in the 3D printer area. It'll be done this weekend, and I will be printing on that printer because it needs to be printed. So anyone who sent it to me, you'll be getting some information from me soon. Anyone who didn't and thought they missed it, you did not. And that's going to be an ongoing thing for any one of our Facebook members. If you want to try any of your logo in a print design, I said, hey, if you like it and you want to move forward, say, hey, Greg, can I order these amount, whatever? Or you just want to see what it looks like in print? Zero. No charge to you at all. If you want to go forward, that's a different story. But we'll work something out for sure.
The first 1,000 are free, right?
Steve's gonna bust out that visa for you first 100,000. No problem on him.
Hey, I make my own stickers. I don't actually use that many stickers anymore.
You know what? I was quite. I've gotten 2 crosses from Skylar, and her packaging. Like she has stickers on it. She has a little note in it. Like, it feels very personal, right? When you order something from Amazon, like Amazon's on it, right? You're gonna get it immediately, but it's Amazon, right? So this her whole presence, the package, like that says something. So when you're
packaging is important, right? I mean, think of the difference between you just bought a new laptop, right? Think of the difference between the packaging in that and what you would get when you open an Apple laptop, right? It's a world of difference, and it brings credibility right from the get-go. It's like the fancy boxes for crystals, right? Where, like, I did these charcuterie boards, and they're these really weird shape, and I cut a piece of plastic or a piece of cardboard that fit the thing perfectly, and a nice piece of parchment paper on top of it, and put it in a box, and people love those things.
Yeah,
I don't make them anymore because I was too busy making them, and it became a job, so I stopped. But it's that kind of packaging that people. I mean, it seems dumb because people are going to cut the tape, take the thing out of the box, and throw the box away. But they will stop and go, this is pretty impressive, right? Yeah,
absolutely. So I think it's cool. You don't need a 7-inch sticker. It could be 2-inch, 1.5 inch, whatever. But that was cool. I liked, and she knows me. You know what I mean? She could have said, like, hey, Rick's not a normal customer. He's a friend of mine. I'm not doing any of that. But she did. She's sent it to like I was a regular customer. I was definitely very impressed in her.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Tim to leave a comment to say, well, you didn't make my stuff pretty. I literally rolled it up and put it in the box.
We got some old newspapers. Yeah.
Molly likes to do handwritten notes as she can keep up with them, but as orders have increased, that's harder and harder to do, but she loves putting handwritten notes in there.
Yeah, me doing a handwritten note for anybody wouldn't be a benefit.
They need an interpreter. Blake, try to get your referrals to him to mention that you sent them to improve the relationship. If he makes money, he will see the value. Yeah, I have. I've sent a lot of business his way and try to explain it. There's just I've struggled for some reason. I really want that relationship to blossom. I've been really busy too, so I talked to him about 6 months, but I'm hoping to get him at the next Michigan Maker Summit.
Nice. Chris said, be unique just like everyone else. Yeah. But like I said, Amazon, that's what I always say. To me, that's the big difference too between Home Depot and Lowe's. To me, like, Home Depot is like Aldi's. Like, when you walk in Home Depot, they're not trying to impress you. Like, there's nothing fancy about a Home Depot at all. You know what? They're trying to give you a good price. That's it. It's mostly for contractors. I'm not saying homeowners, DIYers, makers can't go in there, but they're not a fancy, this is, to wow and dazzle you. That's Lowe's. You walk in Lowe's, it's a little more pricey on some things, not all things, right? But it's fancy. It's more of
the thing that impresses me about Lowe's versus Home Depot. We don't have Lowe's here anymore; they all left. But you walk into Home Depot and the floors are concrete. You walk into Lowe's and the floors are polished concrete, like they're shiny.
Yeah, they got fancy lighting. I mean, like
it's always
Lowe's
bright in there.
Yeah, Lowe's is
Home
fancy.
Depot. When I go into Home Depot, which I do a lot, but when I go in there, I feel like I'm going in to identify a body in the morgue. Like it's dark and depressing, and but I know what I need, so I just go and get it and I leave. But yeah, it is quite different at Lowe's. Lowe's is a little more present, I think.
Yeah. But I think that's not like Home Depot substandard, right? It's just they identified their customer and
sell everything. I mean, I don't find their prices exceptionally good, but they're
right. No, I'm not saying that. Yeah. But what I'm just saying, their presence when you walk in, you know, that's Home Depot, right? Chris said 1% of 10 million views makes a lot of advertisers. Yep. Every customer can bring you a customer. Exactly. Well, looks, guys, we're at 8:30. That went fast. Steve looked at the clock like, really? Yeah, that went fast.
He looked.
And you know what, guys? We actually got to all of our comments. Last couple of lives, we were just blowing up in the comments. We didn't even get to finish the comments, so we're able to run through the comments. Blake, I just want to thank you for joining live, being able to share some of your things. Please do drop some links in the Facebook group. To your store. Some of that app, some of the things you did, that would definitely. Hey guys, and if you guys definitely looking for some quality blanks, hit up Blake. And like I said, it's just not a pump and dump. That's one thing that we always practice, what we preach. If you know you need help, he stands behind his product. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So,
and
Steve, you want to close out? Sorry, one second.
No.
All right,
Like
you got
thinking of Roger, of course, but hopefully everything goes well with him.
Say it again. Sorry.
I said, just thinking of Roger. Hopefully everything goes well with him. He's got to come back. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did make a coupon code. Can I share it?
Absolutely.
Sure.
So it's good just until April 24th, 2026. For anybody still watching or watching this on replay, it's Shop Talk 20 for 20% off until the 24th. And I'll do the first 5 orders that come in. I'll throw in a free pack of mixed hat clips. So you can kind of check out all the hype with my hat clips. Throw in a free mixed pack for the first 5 orders and 20% off, good until the 24th.
You want to say that one more time what it was?
Yeah, for GreatLakesScissors.com, 20% off until April 24th, 2026. 20% off your whole order, as much as you want to order. You can order some crystals. The first 5 people to put an order in, I'll throw in a free mixed pack of hat clips for you to check out too.
Steve's on your website right now. He's like,
yeah, I'm punching the buy
button. Thanks, appreciate that, Blake.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do that, so thank you. Steve, you mind hanging on the live after we drop?
Sure.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you joining us. See you on next week. God bless and enjoy your day. Happy hump day, everyone.
See you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks.